Welcome back to another episode of Solo Scale, podcast of the AI-driven marketer. And today I am with Todd Linder. Todd, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me, man. Good to be here.
You know, Todd, I just realized I didn't ask if I know how to pronounce your last name properly, and I just said Linder. And I was
Spot
like,
on. Spot on.
yes.
You got it.
I was like, oh no, it might be Linder. Uh-oh, just go with one. Be confident. Todd, I'm excited to have you on the podcast. We've been following each other on LinkedIn for a while now, connecting, engaging. I want people to know what you do because you do something very unique and I think very needed in today's world.
Yeah. So I run a company that helps people who are coming out of vocational ministry. So for context, that's if they work for a church as a pastor or as some sort of more administrative role in a church or in a non-church organization that is affiliated with religion in some way.
Like
My
a
background is
nonprofit.
working for a church. So I help people who are transitioning out of church, specifically ministry leaders who are transitioning out of that work, get jobs in the marketplace and do it without getting overlooked because of their ministry experience. Most of these leaders will get into conversations with someone and say, I want to do something different. And a lot of times they get the response, why?
Yeah.
You like, and how? Like, you don't have any experience. So, just helping them do that and communicate that better so they can get into more interviews that lead to offers.
Yeah. And that's what's fascinating is that most people, if they've never been in a ministry context, they don't realize how multifaceted someone is who's been in ministry. Because they're like, oh, you just talk to people and drink coffee with them. You actually don't know how to do anything else outside of that. And it's like, no, most, especially come from a larger organization, you're like, they know how to run a P&L. They know how to run systems. They know how to do all that stuff. So it's just structuring that. I'm curious from you, Todd, how did the origin of this come about? Like where you're like, I really want to help marketplace or ministry people get into the marketplace.
Yeah, that's a great question. I started my career working for a church. It's a large church in Atlanta. There's a kind of multifaceted. So there was like a event, a conference. There's a record label. There's a publishing arm. There's a church. So it definitely wasn't what someone might think of like church on the corner. 200 people show up on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It was a large operation
Yeah.
for sure. And so I worked there for 7 years right out of college. And I don't have a traditional biblical or theological education. I just came from normal state school, didn't get like a master's degree or anything, but really wanted to do something impactful with my life. And after about 5 years working at the church, I just felt like I was not in the right place anymore. And I think a lot of us feel in our career. But something about working in a spiritual environment just made it a little bit more difficult to disassociate what I was doing, the purpose and the meaning from what I was doing, with just getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of your listeners have had that experience at some or another, where some sort of work has felt more meaningful than other types of work that they've done. But having that affiliation with doing eternal spiritual work was hard to unwrap and unravel and disassociate. So it took me actually probably a year to just unravel some unhelpful beliefs about work and what it means to work and why we work and how that integrates with faith. And then after undoing some of those things, it took me a whole nother year to find a job. And for some of the reason why we just mentioned right at the beginning is I didn't know how to talk about what I did. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't even know what to look for next because I did so many things at this church and I grew multiple different things within the church. And so I knew I could do a lot. I just didn't know how to talk about it. I
Yeah.
didn't know what job title that would mean. And eventually I did end up landing a role, though, and it was an HR job, primarily talent acquisition and some coaching consulting leaders on their people strategy at organization. It was a mid-sized business, about 1,000 employees nationwide. And I was the HR consultant, HR generalist hybrid for 13 different business units in the Northeast and the Midwest. And in that 2 years of doing that, I just learned a lot about what hiring managers were looking for and who got jobs and who didn't jobs. And I started noticing it's actually not the people who are the most qualified who gets the job. It's actually the people who just communicate that they are the most
Yeah.
qualified. Because perception is reality, not reality is reality oftentimes. We've all worked with people who are like, how did you get that job? Like, kind of incompetent, but somebody liked you and you convinced
Yeah.
somebody, right? And that's really like, as much as we would like it to be more objective than that, that's really how it works in other ways. So I started realizing that. And then I was working for this organization, elementary school fundraising organization. And then in 2020, COVID hit. All schools leave, like all kids are at home. And the way they did fundraising was through events on campus.
Oh
And so
man,
this business just shut down. And they survived, but I think they went 173 days without revenue. So
that's
like think
brutal.
about that. Any business owner, like think about $0 of it was close to $100 million a year business
Oh
for
my
one
gosh.
third of the year, and or a little bit over that, I guess, maybe like closer to a half of the year. And through that, I was furloughed through that. And the most interesting thing happened when I was furloughed. All these people started coming and asking me for career advice. I mean, everybody felt like almost everybody got laid off
Yeah.
during COVID. And all these people started coming to me for career advice. And I did not realize I was the career guy. And at first, it was my friends. A lot of them were friends with ministry backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then it was like my friends' friends that I didn't even know. And then a couple people offered me money for my help. And I was like, huh. It was like a light bulb, like ding. Oh, wait, like I can make money doing this and I enjoy it. And apparently people think I'm pretty good at it. And so we started down that road of helping people get jobs full time in 2020, August 2020. And then March 2023, it was a Sunday. I was lying in bed. I picked up my phone and looked at LinkedIn, which is probably a terrible habit. Don't do that. But that's the first thing that I did. And the first thing that popped up on my feed, I still remember this guy's name. This guy posted that nobody was giving him interviews. And I clicked on his profile, and he was a former executive pastor of a large church in North Carolina. And for those of you guys who aren't familiar with like large church structure, executive pastor essentially is a chief operating officer. They
Yeah.
do almost all of the same things. And this church I knew had a $52 million budget annually. So it's not like this guy was like, you're just hanging out, one or two staff members. I think they had over 200 staff members. He was the COO. There were, I think, 12,000 or so people coming to one of their different locations every single Sunday. And he's lamenting on this post, no one would give him an interview. And something in me just boiled up. And I was like, that's complete crap. I know this guy is super talented, has all this great experience. And so I just, on a Sunday morning, half asleep, wrote this emotional, like, if you see somebody with a ministry background on your resume and you overlook them, you're wrong. And here's 18 reasons why. And just like all the main reasons that I believed someone with a ministry background brought a lot of value to any sort of corporate
Yeah.
environment. And I hit post, didn't think about it, woke up the next morning, and it had gone LinkedIn viral, which LinkedIn viral just basically means less viral than other platforms, but still
Yeah.
like getting lots of traction. And that had never happened to me before. I was getting like one or two comments, maybe 5 likes on my posts. And I was just doing it more as like a trying to find my voice and what am I doing here. And it like blew up. And I didn't really understand what it meant necessarily, but I had enough experience in business to know I need to go ask these people what's resonating with them. And I just sent a DM to every single person who reposted, commented, most people that liked it. And I mean, it had to be close to 800, 900, maybe 1,000 messages that I sent out. Just copy and paste. I'm glad I didn't get shadow banned. Just copy and paste. Why did this post resonate with you? And of the people that responded, half of them said, I made the transition that you're talking about And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And the other half said, I'm currently trying to make this transition, and it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And it dawned on me, this is my story. Like, I did this, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. But now I actually know how to do it because I did it. Then I hired a bunch of people into it. And then in the last 3 years, I've been just helping people make transitions. So I just maybe try blending stuff together. And of that second group of people, from that group came our first clients for what we're doing now. And now we've been doing this for almost 3 years. And we've helped, as of today, 114 people make those transitions.
And
that's how we got here.
You specifically help them go from ministry, if they want to transition to the marketplace, you help them find a job, help them craft their resume a little bit. Maybe in 30 seconds, explain high level of all the stuff that you offer.
Yeah, so it's a blend of career coaching and consulting. So it starts with figuring out what type of job you actually want to do and you have the experience to do. You have the skills, the experience, the wiring to do said job. Then we work on translating your experience into words and phrases that are going to make sense to hiring managers, because you can't say preach in an interview for a marketing job. Like, that's not going to work very well. It might, but it's probably not going to work very well. Then it's taking the words and phrases that we translated and putting them into formats that are going to help you get more interviews. So that's on your LinkedIn, your resume, cover letters, and how to write your story, how to craft your story so that it makes sense when someone says, wait, why are you leaving this job? You can say it in 30 seconds and like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Never mind, let's keep going. So busting that objection. And then learning how to play the job search game, because you can't just apply anymore. If you apply cold, it's a 1% to 2%. The data shows it's a 1% to 2% chance of getting a job. No one wants to play a 1% to 2% chance game. If you have an introduction, it's closer to like 15 to 20% chance of getting an interview. So that's where we just help people to understand who are the people who are most likely to help you. What are the organizations that are for profit, but more likely to see your ministry background as a cultural asset or someone who understands what you bring to the table with your competency. And then how do you actually convert conversations into interviews that lead to offers rather than just having networking conversations all day and nothing ever happens. We've all been there. You should talk to this person. You should talk to this person. And then we just had 10 coffees and nothing happened.
Yeah.
We help them through that entire process, even negotiating their offer, because you don't negotiate your offer in ministry. You're doing God's work.
Yeah, exactly. And you feel
normal.
So grimy to do it. And you're like, okay, Lord, this is what they have. And it's like, no, you probably could have negotiated it, but you just didn't know how to. So, okay, Todd, so that's super helpful for people. You're in a unique niche because this ministry people come with certain baggage, or mindsets is a better word, actually. Mindsets of like, how do I get into the marketplace? You're helping them. And I also think about this is from a business standpoint of like, where do you find your people, right? Because it's not like you could just start like doing lead magnets or the normal traditional marketing routes, because it's not like there's a pool of some or like a Facebook group of ministry people looking for jobs, right? Or maybe there isn't. I just haven't looked. Curious, how did you find ways to start growing your business and getting clients?
Yeah. One of the first things I learned when I was starting our business, and I did not know a lot when I was starting, I just felt like a compelled towards the entrepreneur path, but like, I didn't know much. One of the first things I learned is go to where your people are hanging out. And when people are looking for jobs, they go to LinkedIn. So I think LinkedIn can probably work for lots of people and lots of different businesses. But it's nice that when someone logs onto LinkedIn, they're looking for a job, the first thing that shows up is the feed. So I just started posting organically on LinkedIn. And that has made some connections and I've made some network. And so a lot of, I would say probably like 60% of our clients come from someone making an introduction that has connected with me on LinkedIn, and either they have a background in ministry and now their friend and they've transitioned to marketplace and now their friend is asking them how to do, like, well, I got lucky, but you should meet this guy. Or it's just, so a lot of it is introductions, and then some of it is just organically being found because I'm posting enough relevant things that the algorithm is just showing it to them.
Yeah. It's showing them, they know their mind that they're transitioning to a new role and they're like, look at Todd.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, we might talk about this, but knowing your niche and knowing how to describe what you do for your niche is incredibly important, especially on LinkedIn, because if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, there's four things that everyone can see everywhere on LinkedIn. Whether you send a comment or on a post or on your profile or wherever it is, they can see your profile picture, they can see your name, they can see your headline, and then if you want, there's like the additional gender identifier
Right.
thing. All those show up. But your headline, or the first 56 characters of your headline, show up everywhere. So my headline has been for a long time, I've helped X number of people or ministry leaders transition into the marketplace. And that shows up under everything that I do. So it is nice that it piques curiosity for those people of like, oh, that's what I'm trying to do. And I think that's been incredibly impactful for just that little messaging right there. Incredibly impactful for connecting with people.
Yeah, that's huge, man. And funny little anecdote for the gender. I know this is gonna sound so ridiculous, but I had a friend that I forgot what platform it was. You could customize it, so it's not like just he, him, or anything like that. He said he wrote more money or get money. Like that was his whole thing. Like I'm like, you're so ridiculous.
You can customize it on LinkedIn as well. There's a guy that I'm connected with whose name is Steve Pedro. And
Yeah.
next to it, he says, vote for Pedro, which is just like, if you're from like our generation, that just like strikes an immediate chord. And it's just funny. So you
Oh,
can do
that's
that too.
awesome. Now I'm going to go find him like, hey, bro, I heard about you. Okay. So as you've been growing your business, what have you found to be some of like the biggest challenges that you've had to navigate in trying to grow it?
Oh, man. Guru garbage.
Yeah. We were
Man,
talking about this a little bit before.
yeah, we have. I have spent a lot of money on, and this is me, and we talked about this before. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a simple guy that needs things to be like really practical, and I think that's been helpful for me sometimes. But also, when things feel really complex, looking back, I can get really frantic and really feel really anxious because I don't understand. And I think this is a lot of people is they go and they're not getting traction, and then they see someone who promises a result and says, I've got a system that can help you. Look at all the ways I've helped all these other people. And then they just talk about their top three best results. And those are outliers, not normal.
Yeah.
And I bought into some of that stuff, too many of those things. And I just, man, like, I paid the dummy tax big. I wish I had somebody who was almost like vetting for me. I paid the dummy tax big on that. And that was my biggest struggle, is just filtering through, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. When really is a lot simpler than that. It was just like find people, have conversations with them, build trust with them, serve them really well, and just do it on repeat. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that. But I bought into like the shortcuts and the just set up your email automations and like you'll have money forever kind of things. And that might work for some people, but I just yeah, that was biggest struggle for me, is buying into that, mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. And now I have a couple business mentors, and that is way more effective for people who have been there before, to be able to ask the right questions and guide me along the way, rather than paying for a $20,000 business coaching program.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I created this podcast. It was because I found so many people being duped into these programs. And I saw them. I mean, I've been in that space for so long that I was like, oh my gosh, we got to do something different. So I've been trying to find all the people like, how are you doing it? What's going on? I mean, there are people I've been pre-interviewing before the podcast that I was like, oh, I can't interview you. You got sales bro written all over you. That when I start asking questions, you're gonna fumble. Like even one question that's always really compelling is I talk to people who have coaching programs and I'm like, hey, just ask them what's their participants completion rate or success rate, right? And so
Great
many
question.
times coaches are like, oh, well, it's up to them. It's funny how you all of a sudden decide to gaslight your client and talk about it's their fault. They didn't do it. It's not them. And I'm like, maybe your program just sucks or you actually don't know how to get results for people. Fascinating times where I've put myself on in the hot seat with a lot of these high profile people because it's like I'm asking them hard questions and then I'm like, oh, now they don't want to talk to me because I'm asking the hard questions. They're great marketing and sales people, but they're not capable of saying, hey, I'm truly trying to bring results to individuals. So that's why I appreciated you, Todd, is because I've been watching you for a while now and I'm like, oh, you're actually helping people. You're actually helping
Mm.
what I would say is our tribe of people who need help, and like, all right, you're getting him jobs. All right, let's go. Let's highlight Todd. Let's see what he's doing. And I appreciate that challenge that you're saying, man, I've bought into these things. As you think about your life now and what you're trying to grow, walk us through what has been some practical things that if you can just help someone who's maybe one or two steps behind. So I want you to have your business mentor hat on, but like, hey, man, don't do this, do this.
Mm. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that stuff. That was meaningful. I received that. I would, looking back, I have a friend who's a YouTube creator. He's a few months ago hit 1 million followers, and he has kind of a phrase that says, and it's kind of his like motto. It's it works if you just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's true as long as you don't do too much. So there's like hustle bro culture, which
Yeah.
is like just keep going, but do more, more, more. And then there's like the reality of running a marathon. It's like you finish the marathon if you just keep going, but you can't sprint for the first 5 miles and expect to run the other 21.2. So the part of the just keep going is like do it at a pace that's sustainable. Don't work yourself 65, 70 hours a week for 4 years because you'll burn out. Don't try everything. Try one thing for a long period of time. And if it doesn't work, then you can go back and say, what about this didn't work? Did it like holistically not work? Or did some of the things not work? And then tweak. My problem is I'm a quick start, and that can be really great when something needs to be started quickly and really not great when I feel frantic. So I like will try a bunch of things really fast. And I probably tried 7 different marketing strategies in 7 months. And so I probably should have just tried 2 in 7 months,
Yeah.
and taken that from there. And looking back, I wish that I was less frantic, wish that I was less anxious, and I worked on the things that matter rather than the things that don't really matter. So the things that matter are have a great product, like actually serve people and get sales. And you just have to do that long enough to create a system where that
Yeah.
sustains itself. And we're actually kind of getting back to the basics in 2026 of just be great for your clients and get lots of sales conversations with people. And that's how you can run your business.
It,
It's
it's fascinating because when you're like, throughout this whole episode, you've been talking about like the basics or the foundations of like, just get seen, get known, talk to people, close the deal, have a great product. Like sometimes we overcomplicate it where you're like, we need a 15-piece upsell funnel to be able to navigate people into, and then tripwire. And you're like, dude, no, just have the conversations. And you've been having meaningful conversations. It sounds like too that your, if I was to talk about top of funnel strategy, has been primarily LinkedIn, correct?
Yeah. And I mean, word of mouth.
Yeah.
But that's how it's like. If my dad's an entrepreneur, he's been in business for 50 years. It's like he's just turned 70, and he has zero marketing because it's a completely word of mouth because he has an amazing product. So if we have a long view, like if we're thinking about decades rather than days, if we run our businesses for decades, then eventually over time, if you have a good thing, people will come to you. But that is like an over time. It's not like a right now if you're just in the beginning. And I've seen that with my dad. I could have learned from that. Could have learned from that. But I'm starting to experience that of like just serve people well and put yourself out there with a good message, and then people will start like eventually coming to you. And I still have to do post organically, and I still have to do all the stuff that gets the algorithm going on LinkedIn and comment and all that stuff. But really, I'm just trying to tell stories and create resonance with people and serve people really well, and then talk about serving people well. Celebration's a really big thing for us, and we celebrate in public. I think that's important to celebrate your clients' wins in public and not in like a salesy way. Just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's up? Like they did it. They got a job. 3 people got jobs this week. What's up? This is awesome. I'm so excited. And that's enough.
Yeah.
The people that want jobs want to be like, I have this counter behind me for the people who are watching on video. It's not a clock. It's not broken. It's a counter of how many people we've helped get jobs. And this is just like a small little thing that we did. And now people like, I get messages from people like, I want to be 115.
Mm, that's
And there's
awesome,
an
man.
association because they want to be someone that like wins. And so it is just some of the simple stuff. And I think there are businesses where all that 15-step funnel and all that stuff can work. I just personally, I'm a simple guy. I just need it to be simple.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just me, but I just need to be simple.
Well, and the other thing that I've been thinking about for you, Todd, is when you talk about earlier, like find the pool of where people are at, with a lot of coaching or different things, there's always like this emotional felt need or the pain that they're feeling, where that might be a prolonged need for 6 months, a year, 2 years, before someone wants to take action. So there's always kind of a pool. For you, there's like this unique window of time that people will need you, right? So it's finding those people at the right time where it hits and like, oh, I need to know Todd. So I can see where you networking with so many people is helpful because it's the reminder like, oh, you need a job, you're from ministry, go talk to Todd. I mean, I've put you in my list of like, whenever I know my ministry friends who are looking for marketplace stuff, I'm like, you should reach out to Todd because I'm like, you're doing it. And I see you doing it. I forgot there was a post probably a couple weeks ago, and this might have been right before the holidays. You were like this. There was a pastor. You could probably correct me if I'm wrong. They're like they were making like under 50K or 60K, and they found their job and doubled their income.
Yeah,
and that's probably common for. That's a lot. That's pretty common.
It was
most
actually
people.
4x. They 4x.
It was 4x. Yeah, it was just like something crazy, and I was like, okay, he's doing the work, and I could see you're doing the work. That's when I reached out to you. I think is when I saw that. I'm like, hey, bro, you got to come on the podcast. You got to share your story. You got to share what you're doing. And it took a little bit, but we made it. We made it.
Yeah, we did. We did. It had something to do with you having your 5th child.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting about that story, Ken? Along the lines of what we've been talking about, some of the guru stuff, I intentionally almost never share that story because I don't want people to think that that is like going to be their story because it's an outlier. Our average income increase is over $42,000. But that doesn't mean everybody is $42,000. It doesn't mean everybody is $150,000.
Yeah.
That's like the average. And some people make about the same. And so those types of numbers, I know that's like what you're supposed to do in coaching world. I personally have been burned enough times and have the conviction that integrity is more important than like one of our to go to like Bible stuff. One of our core verses as a business of how we run our business is it a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches.
Yeah. Amen.
And I do think that over a long enough period of time, the riches can come. Like I'm not starting a business to like remain like that's I could do that way more easily than start a business, right? But that's like a core value for us, and so I'm very very sensitive towards those things because I never want to convince somebody from an outlier data point that they should join. I want to say this is what you can expect honestly, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who have said no, but then I get to go to bed and sleep well that night,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Exactly. And I think even in that post, you had mentioned that it was an outlier. If I remember correctly, you did
Mhm.
something that I just remember thinking, wow, I know so many people who would have posted this and they would have just spotlighted it almost made it a marketing push. Like, hey, I'm 4X'd it. Do you want a 4X? Come talk
Mm.
to me. You didn't do that. I'd have to probably go back and look at exactly how you wrote it, but there was some honesty and integrity. And you were just like, I think you even said, hey, some people get 4X, some people get just the same thing. The most important thing was like, I helped them find jobs and they found it. And the hardest part of their life is over kind of deal. And I was just like, okay, he's onto something. And that's what I appreciated. It was like that, like you said, the integrity of selling that you were doing that I appreciated about it.
Thanks, man.
Um,
I appreciate
Todd,
that.
as we wrap up this conversation, man, I have asked the same 5 questions to everybody. I want to ask you. It's called the Fast Five. I'm doing an expert-led business trend report. So I just kind of want to see where you're at, right? I'm going to try not to commentate as much as possible. So sometimes I do a good job. Other times we end up in a 10-minute dialogue. But okay, question number one is this. What's something in your business you're experimenting with right now?
Uh, I hired an EA 6 months ago,
Yeah.
and I would still say it's like an experimentation phase, but way more delegation happening. And so I would say it's a little bit in an experimentation phase still, but it's going great. And so just having team members is kind of an experimentation thing and saying, I'm not going to do that, which is great.
Sounds great. Okay, question two. Which part of your business feels the most influx or you're like, it keeps you up at night?
Product, always,
Yeah.
always. I think it's like the creative founders curse is to have a is to like I'm always thinking about what's wrong or what could be better. And so one of the practices that we're implementing is I have like a multiple layers of decision tree for this year just to keep it simple. Like is it critical to the business? Product is always critical. Yes. Is it broken or is it clunky or is it just like aesthetically could be a little bit better? And
Yeah.
so I'm just saying, is it broken? Fix it. If it's not broken and just clunky, we'll just keep it for right now. And it's going
Yeah.
to keep me up, but we're just going to keep it for right now for the sake of simplicity and doing the right things.
Oh.
But product is always going to keep me up at night.
Sweet. So that just means you have to write a book soon. Um, question number three. What's a goal you're building toward this year that you're really excited about?
It's an anti goal.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah, we decided not to set a revenue goal this year. And so the goal is to have 5 sales calls each week. And I know that we do that, that on average we'll close enough that will make us very profitable.
Yeah.
And that's great. But the goal for me this year is to be a healthy version of myself spiritually, emotionally, relationally, physically, mentally. And so, as a high achiever on every single possible personality test you can possibly take, this is actually a good reprieve from me. So it's like an anti goal of becoming a healthier version of myself.
Yeah. Sweet, man. Question number four. Where do you see the coaching industry shifting and how are you preparing for it?
This goes into the AI conversation a little bit. One of the things that we have done is try to implement technology and AI and automation in as many places as possible that does not require human touch.
Hmm.
And then all the stuff that does require human touch, emphasize those and do more of that. And so it's like the things that I could do but aren't required for me to do, let's have technology do that and let's have AI do that. So all of our like job assessments, all of our resume stuff, job searching, finding who's the hiring manager, all that stuff in our business, all of that is AI because I don't like I could do it, I could help with it, but all of it's AI. Courses, I think courses. This is I'm taking a page out of Jay Klaus's book, but I think courses are going to become obsolete because you have on-demand learning for what you need right now. So people might make comprehensive courses, but then even Circle, which is the community platform we use,
Yeah.
it has an internal AI agent that searches all of your course material. You can just get the answer. So I think customized course learning with AI plus getting all of your like immediate need consultative type questions answered will be taken by AI. And then I think the actual coaching element of like mindset and beliefs, that is going to increase because AI is not going to be able to do that well. So at least not for a while, I think. So I think the actually needing to be a coach, like by definition, is going to be a higher need. And then the consultative part, coaching, will become more technology. And that's the bet we're making. And so we're like making that distinction pretty clearly.
We could have a whole podcast on that little comment you just made, but we're not going to go there right now.
What coaching actually is? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many people who are like, I'm coaching. I'm like, that's not coaching. You're not even close to coaching. You just like giving advice. All right. Anyways, last question. What's the legacy you want to leave behind?
Ooh. You know, I come from a background where doing big things, making big impact was like status quo. And I think I have lived in that world, and there's something very attractive about that world to me. But for me, I think the biggest legacy I want to leave, kids that love me, love my wife, love being together, great community, friends, honoring our parents, which is unfortunately becoming less and less popular today, being present with people that need it, and making a lasting impact. And I would love to be in a business, and it may be this one, it may be another one, that's a multi generational business where my kids will take it over. And I don't know what that is, but I think a legacy where like my family is a rooted family in the community, um, and becoming a cornerstone of the community to provide flourishing for our family and for the people around us. And that would be amazing. I would love that.
I love it, man. Todd, for those who listen to this and like, man, I really love what Todd's doing, or they're like, hey, I need a job and I need transition. What's the best way to contact you?
LinkedIn is where I'm hanging out for 2-3 hours every day. And then, so that's a great place. And then website, we have if you're looking for a job, you can go to our website, launchpoint.co. And there's a 12 question quiz on there that will help you understand if you're on the job search right now, where do you need to focus? Like, what's the roadblock that's hindering your job search? Because sometimes we don't know what's actually going wrong. So it's going to help you understand what is actually going wrong, where to focus your time. And then once you take that quiz, it'll open the floodgates on a ton of opportunities for us to connect, including some different calls and different opportunities like that. But if you just want to shoot me a DM, LinkedIn's where it's at.
Sweet deal. Todd, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man.
Yeah, man. Good to see you. Thanks, Ken.